NFTs in the real estate industry. What the what? You might be asking yourself, how the heck is real estate going to incorporate NFTs into their industry? Now, today we're going to be talking about all of the different ways and innovative, cutting edge ways that NFTs can be implemented in all sorts of different businesses. This video is focusing on real estate. I encourage you to watch all the videos because these ideas are not only applicable cross industry, you're probably going to be inspired when you think about different ways different types of businesses can use NFTs. Additionally, if you are already heavily invested in NFTs in the crypto industry, you might find some of these ideas pretty obvious. A lot of them I'm actually pulling from the leading edge, people who are already incorporating this technology into their business and your industry. So if you're also looking for definitions, a deeper understanding, how-tos, there's a video for that, my friend. I'm creating a whole slew of resources because I'm Nicole BZ and I specialize in small business and bringing 21st century solutions to CEOs and visionary leaders in business. I've worked with business owners across the world, and what I will tell you is no one is having this conversation. Sure, the crypto bros and the tech guys and the IT nerds are very, very interested in this, but who's telling real estate agents how they can implement this cutting edge technology into their business? Now, I've flipped a ton of different houses. I'm a property investor, but I've never actually pulled the trigger and gotten my real estate license. So I am simply riffing on ideas based on my experience and based on the numerous people that I'm talking to. Real estate is definitely one of my passions. So with that, let's get into it. How could you, as a real estate industry, a real estate agent, or just simply a passionate real estate investor, get into NFTs? So first and foremost, very brave, very courageous, and very smart people are using NFTs to buy and sell property. What? You might be like, who the hell would buy an NFT that's a house? How does that even work? It's a profile picture on my computer. An NFT can represent an asset, most obviously. It can also represent an agreement, a smart contract, which is automatic and programmable. It can also be a promise, so something future to be delivered. And last and not least, it can give people access. So these are sort of the four basic ways of thinking about what an NFT could represent in your business. So in real estate, if an NFT can represent an asset, it can be your house, my friend. How the hell can an NFT be a house? Well, your ownership is typically represented by a title. At least in the United States, home ownership is traded using title. And when you buy or sell a property, there are a ton of expenses that are associated with it. Buying and selling a property can be really expensive for the seller. It tends to include anywhere from 6 to 10% on top of the sales price. So if you, as the property seller, are selling a home for $300,000 or $1 million, you're paying an additional 6 to 10% on top of that just to sell the home. So don't think you've made all that profit until you've taken out 6 to 10% of that selling price. So this could be as much as $30,000 or $300,000, depending. Now, there's some things you're not going to get away with in there, including taxes or HOA fees, any unpaid bills or liabilities on the home, but you're paying potentially 4 to 6% to your real estate agent. There's also escrow and title fees that are associated. So by using an NFT, earmuffs if you're a real estate agent or working for a title company or in escrow, or maybe you should listen up and get really creative and really inspired by what is about to come next. So if you are willing and brave enough to sell your home via an NFT, what you do is you get your NFT to represent the title of the home. Now, this could be bought or sold almost instantly, safely, securely, and protected, because that's the beauty of the blockchain, my friend. It is transparent and it is very, very secure. That's the nature of the technology. So it's going to change the game in real estate. And you might be thinking, well, no one's going to do this. No one's going to look for this. It's been happening since 2017. People have been buying and selling homes for over 5 years using NFT technology. Yeah, it's not just happening, it's growing. Why would anybody want to buy or sell a home using an NFT? It's easy. It's instant, it's transparent. And so gone are the days of having to look on MLS or realestate.com or whatever website you might be using to buy and search for homes. That's another way that NFTs could be used. It could give you access to an exclusive community where agents, homeowners, Anybody in the real estate industry or anybody passionate about the real estate industry could be discovering homes before they hit the consumer market. And so as we know, as investors, as buyers, as sellers, the pocket listings, the way that you're able to get buyers interested is by creating demand and exclusivity. So using an NFT could potentially put your home in front of, or your asset, your real estate asset, this could be commercial or residential, in front of keen investors and buyers using an NFT. So the NFT grants the holder access to this community. It could also grant a different style of holder access to list their real estate assets in this community. So immediately you're giving people exclusivity, you're giving them the promise to potentially buy or sell. You could create smart contracts. So these are membership-based communities. This could also give people a discount. So if you're willing to sell your property or put your asset up in that community, you could be an owner of an NFT that gives you special discounts or access to photographers. I mean, whatever you could dream up and put into that smart contract, all of that is available to NFT buyers and holders and creators. Something else that NFTs make possible is, you know how you look on a listing and you can see potential sale prices, potential ownership, any other details with the property. And as a buyer or an investor, you want to know what are some of the major projects that have been done? What are the permits that have been taken out? With NFT ownership, all of that could be tracked and all of that could be completely transparent. So gone are having to pull the permits and call the city and get your agent to do all of these extra jobs. Maybe you're working with a real estate attorney as well. All of this could be very transparent and available on the NFT ownership of this particular asset. Now we're about to get creative because there's a couple different things that happen in the real estate industry that when you start taking, well, this idea works really well here and that idea works really well there, but what if we combine? So looking at existing timeshares. Right now, we all kind of know that a timeshare sort of went out with the 90s. You buy access to maybe an exclusive sort of resort or condominium complex, but you might not be using it as often as you want, or you don't feel like you're taking full advantage of it. Or at the end of the day, you just kind of get sick of going to the same place over and over again. Imagine if that ownership were an NFT so that you as the owner could easily transfer ownership to anyone that would be interested in staying there. You can sell it for more than you paid for it. You can include all of the membership fees in it. There's so many different ways that you can automate the expenses associated with a timeshare, but then alleviate yourself of the admin included with buying or selling. Now, as a timeshare seller, you can do all of the same things. So gone are the days of having to invite people to awkward brunches and lunches and try and keep selling all these different properties. Your buyers could do that for you. But here's where it gets really cool. What if you timeshared your home? So we're looking now at sort of an Airbnb model, but for anyone who has listed lots of properties on Airbnb, it's not exactly as amazing as it puts itself out to be. I've certainly experienced damage. I've experienced bad renters. I've experienced cancellations, both for me as a renter and property investor and manager, but as a person who's stayed at Airbnbs, it's also not always what it's cracked up to be. And that owner may not necessarily look like the stars that they've got, right? So with an NFT, you could create your own closed network program, allowing people to access your property, rent your property. Again, everything's programmed into this smart contract. And so I've been exploring this with a handful of the properties that I own and a handful of the property investors and travelers that I love and adore. Imagine being able to create this closed network where you could use my apartment in Tuscany or my home in Sydney, Australia. And so we're kind of creating this group of 10, maybe 20 different travelers, nomads, investors. We could even create an investment pool so that we could be buying properties with NFTs. So again, if an NFT can represent a promise, you could buy an NFT that gives you 20% of this particular investment decentralized autonomous organization, aka DAO. There's another video on DAOs. So this is where we start to get really, really creative with how could an NFT be used in a very, very established industry, but in a really new and exciting way. However, drawing upon concepts that we're totally familiar with. Alrighty, property investor, how about another one of your biggest headaches, rent collection? What if instead of selling contracts, I don't even know, you're selling access to an apartment or a home for a limited amount of time, you make it an NFT. So this is something that could just simply be executed every time it expires. You could program in any rental increases or any rewards, even better. You could program in access. Maybe there's a pool, maybe there's a gym. You could work with local partners to sort of create these little networks. But you could automatically collect rent. You could let somebody pay rent up front. You could include security deposits, damage control, pet deposits, all of those things that you find yourself having a million conversations with. You could just make it easily and readily available. And additionally, you could have renters put together their own digital wallets so that you're able to see any of their references, any of their qualifications, and gone are having to go look at all of these properties, have all these conversations, collect all these different applications, so on and so forth. So maybe you're a property manager of a large complex. Think about NFTs and how they could help you not just rent or sell your properties, but potentially even maintain them as well. I'm going to riff on this idea. We're riffing, right? So what if as a homeowner or someone looking to sell, you could actually give people access to maintenance, to the people who've done your remodel, to all of the contractors? Suddenly you're including this network of people that are familiar with the property that you've used, that you can endorse as an asset and a value add to the sale of the property. As someone who's bought and sold multiple properties, what I can tell you is the new owner coming in, or me as the new owner, would love to be exposed to the people who did the landscaping, the person who replaced the roof, who I could look at for HVAC or potentially even water heater. Is that what I'm looking for? Your hot water heater? That's a big one, and that needs to be replaced fairly periodically. Or even just a maintenance schedule. As you know, as a homeowner or home investor, you're having to regularly look at a variety of different tasks and activities in a home. And even as a home buyer, even as a first-time home buyer, and you might take a lot of pride and really enjoy doing that maintenance yourself, being exposed to the people and the schedule and all of that can be a huge asset. You could actually program into the smart contract of your NFT or sell as a separate NFT as a value add to your property. Last and not least, and for some of you, you're going to be heavily invested in the crypto and NFT industry, so you're already going to be an expert. This might all sound a little elementary to you, but if this is new, a very obvious but very, very new style of real estate is digital property in the metaverse. So there are a ton of different metaverses that exist. Again, if you are interested, if you're participating, you already know this. But have you thought about purchasing property in your metaverse? This can be a really cool investment. It can be a great way of building brand awareness if you are a business owner. It can also be just a really fun way of interacting with your community. So there are a ton of different ways you can use NFTs in the real estate industry right now. I encourage you to not just review this video for ideas, but definitely watch the other videos in this series. I am always open to any comments or ideas. I would love to hear from you in the comments if this has been useful. Thank you so much for watching.